Everyone, welcome back to the Annadelna podcast.
Episode 24.
Today we have the wonderful Jumington, former CEO of Jumington Dynamics. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good.
Glad to hear it. I guess we'll just jump right into it. So, who are you?
I am Jumington. I'm the former CEO of Jumington Dynamics, now sadly bankrupt due to a whole lot of reasons, some of which I can get into, some of which I cannot due to legal liability reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't get too much into the industry. Well, I can come back to that, but yeah, the company went bankrupt. My body was horribly ground up in one of our products, and it was rebuilt with test dummy parts, and now I have a lot of time while we're adjudicating the bankruptcy. So I'm returning to my original passion of playing crusty, weird old video games on the internet.
That sounds awful. What happened to you?
At the time it was pretty bad. Being a cyborg has some advantages, a lot of disadvantages. I'm finding it's hard to get replacement parts, and with all the tariff talk and everything, it just keeps getting harder every day.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a lot of test dummies here, so I'm able to just kind of pick and choose out of that. Not the best selection, not very varied, but it works. I'm running out of the artificial skin, so that's a concern. But I'm confident I can get access to the VATs again, and then it's going to work out.
That's good.
I'll ask about the bats later. What are your preferred pronouns?
I prefer he, haw.
All right,
Jumington. He, him.
We'll put he, ha, him. It'll be fine. All right, and what is your favorite color?
Well, I would put it as orange, and it reminds me of the vibrancy of my youth, now long lost.
Do you think it has anything to do with your association of like test dummies and caution signs?
It's entirely possible. We weren't big on caution signs around here, which is honestly part of the legal troubles. But there's a lot of orange color, chemicals and so forth that went into our processes. And so, it's like that phenomenon where people work in factories where they make red products and they see red all day and they kind of lose their mind. I think I kind of had some of that with the orange, where I just saw it every day, and now it's permanently burned in my retinas.
That's fair. That's fair. How do you feel about carrots?
I do enjoy a carrot. Not enough protein in them for my current state, but I have enjoyed carrots quite a bit in my day.
Carrots are pretty yummy.
Carrots are delicious.
So the next question is, have you seen the podcast before?
Yes, I have. I've seen the podcast. I don't know if I've seen every episode, but I've seen most of the episodes.
We greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Jumington, former CEO of Jumington Dynamics.
That's me. They're always excellent. I always learn a lot from them. I particularly enjoy them.
That's the goal.
It's always fun to interview our friends as well. What age rating do you shoot for with your streams?
I'd say, man, I don't know. not super young. I want to say like I'm not like kids get out so much, but I play a lot of horror games, some graphic stuff. There's some language in there that maybe I'm like, I don't know if kids should see this, but when I was growing up, like we in elementary school, all we talked about was like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. So like it was a different world for me. That stuff's pretty normal for us all to engage in. So I would offhandedly say all ages, but I know there's got to be a cutoff to that somewhere. That's part of why I try to.
You're thinking a little bit like PG-13.
Yeah. I go a little bit further than that sometimes, but for the most part, yeah, I try and keep it around PG-13.
Do you think that there's age that is too young for people to be on the internet, especially on sites like YouTube?
I think that is. I don't know what that age is. I think that there's a lot to be said about the way online content is structured, particularly with like short form content is very, very popular
Hmm.
with young people, and I think I don't know if it causes or just plays into an already like troubling lack of attention.
Yeah.
But I think like lack of like firm attention is kind of normal for a kid, and I think it just kind of worsens it. There's also an issue with like how kids interact with this stuff via touchscreens is having an impact on children's like hand dexterity and finger strength. And
Yeah.
educators are finding it's harder for kids to like handwrite because they're not engaging with things physically. But I also think there's something to be said. I have a young nephew and I encounter this a lot. He hates it, but he'll come to me with these hot takes he got off a YouTube short, and it's always like, "Did you know Moon Knight is in Lego Star Wars?" Like, no, no, it's not. It's like, yeah, it is. Look at this video, and it's like somebody has modified the game to make a white Darth Vader, and they put a short up that says it's Moon Knight. Use this code to redeem him. Like, that's not real, buddy. Yes, it is. And so, like, their ability to differentiate that it is a problem. I think that's not even get into like the TikTok challenges and stuff, or like the Tide Pod challenge. It's kind of an old one now, but like that sort of thing is like there's so much out there that is like, yeah, this is kind of a funny joke. It's not really made with in mind that like a very small child who's not going to understand it's a joke is going to see it. Um, I don't really know what you can do so much about that. Like, I don't think it's realistic to think that parents are going to like monitor all of that stuff. A lot of the settings that you would set, like kids YouTube, like there's some stuff on there that's like, really, this is for kids. That don't seem right. But again, it's tough for me because like I definitely feel this when I was younger. Like we engaged with all kinds of like stuff that was definitely not appropriate for kids. And now that I'm older and have like this young nephew that I'm watching out for, it's suddenly like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if you should be playing this game. I don't know if you should see that. It's hard to like scale that back, but I definitely think like the internet is can have a corrupting influence on young minds in some manner.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm overreacting to it, but that's my take.
I hope that this comes through in a lot of things, but I fully believe like 80 to 90% of everything I say. Sometimes I do just lie because it's funny to spread misinformation on the internet. But even if I say I'm playing devil's advocate, I still fully believe what I'm saying. Um, we live in a world in a similar way to like 20 years ago. If you lived in a place that had a lot of snakes, when you have a kid and you tell them snakes are dangerous, don't go near them, the kid is going to hear you and go, oh, okay, just like the way that the stove is hot. I was told the stove is hot, but I still touched it. Sometimes you have to let the kid go outside with supervision, walk up to a snake that you know isn't particularly dangerous, but will bite them, and let them get bit for that first time so that they can know for the future, like, it's not just words. Don't go near the ones I know are actually dangerous. In the same way that kids nowadays are looking at misinformation on the internet. Like, in the same way that as we were kids growing up in the generation of the internet just coming up, we would look at this stuff on the internet, get tricked a few times by like how to download free Club Penguin coins, and we would watch the videos of them with their stupid music typing in a notepad. And as we went along, we realized this stuff was fake, and then our parents started seeing fake information on the internet for the first time, and we had to be the ones to explain to them this clearly isn't real. These kids nowadays are going to be looking at stuff and go, yeah, that's AI. Yeah, I know that's AI. And then we're going to be looking at it and be like, what? How do you know that? It's like, oh, because I've already been tricked by it 30 times, whereas you've only been tricked 5 times. So I view it in the similar way of that, of like, it is horrible, it is absolutely corrupting, but the problem is, in the same way that normal society corrupts you in ways of like, sometimes disabilities just can't be accommodated for, even though they clearly can, it's
Yeah.
just too expensive. Kids being corrupted by the internet is in a way similar to that, of just like that's the environment that they live in, so they have to learn how to survive the snake bites.
But there is also the issue of this information that they're taking in. There's no downside to them taking it in. They're just going to keep consuming more and more and more of this false information, all of this bad information, corrupting their minds and their view of the world, and there's no snake
Yeah.
biting.
I think like for me part of the issue is, and again, I'm old, so like typical old person is like, no, 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 no. This new stuff, it's no good. It's no good, I tells you. We need to go back to the old days. But I think there the difference is that there's there's so much more of it. To use the snake analogy, it's different from living in an area that has like some snakes that are fairly common and living in an area that's just like a swimming pool full of venomous snakes.
Hmm.
And I think that like the availability of it, I mean, I think there's just a lot more. There's a lot more out there. And, you know, like Anna said, I don't think there's really a downside to some of it. There's not like, oh, I got burned by this. It's okay, on to the next thing. I don't think it's you should just cut them off entirely, but I think that the biggest challenge is like how do you monitor that? How do you moderate that? Like historically, tools that are out there that are supposed to be like Net Nanny, and I don't know if that product's even still around, but like internet censorship tools that are supposed to keep things safe for kids generally get run by people who have a certain political ideology, and then it's more focused on blocking that stuff out. Like, hey, I want this thing to make sure my like 10-year-old child is not seeing like explicit horse porn. And then it's like, great, we got you, but we're also going to block any mention of feminism because that's bad. Like, well, no, I don't agree with that. So like it's a real challenge coupled with like most families are like a 2-income household. Kids are kind of on their own a lot. It's a lot harder for parents to kind of monitor that stuff. I think time
Hmm.
will tell where that stuff comes in, but yeah, I worked in a school for a while, and like the idea that the younger generation, because they had more exposure to technology, I think that kind of because they had more exposure to technology, they'll be better at it. I think that kind of wears down after a while, where the type of technology they were exposed to was different, and they actually end up with less technical skills and less ability to differentiate reality from fiction.
Yeah.
I think it's always going to be just a factor of every person, while we're all made of the same human parts. I mean, unless
Well, some
extenuating
of us.
circumstances aside, we're always going to also have those differences in personality that cause us to understand things less or more. So while I think that the general population, like overall humanity, is just going to get better with technology and become more and more like hybridized with our phones and smartwatches and stuff, there are of course going to be the people who just can't understand the information, and as always they will just be left behind, or we'll have a program put in place that makes sure no one gets left behind, and then the people who already understand it just have to sit there twiddling their thumbs while they wait for everyone else to catch up. There's always a downside to every problem, and also the whole thing about there being no downsides of taking in a bunch of misinformation. Sadly, at the moment, the only downside is public humiliation. You don't want it, but the only real like way for a kid to have that moment of, oh, this was wrong, is being told, what are you talking about? That's not real, in front of other people, and getting that small taste, hopefully, of public humiliation, as always.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's the best thing. You just have to rely on enough people like challenging that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't
Hmm.
know. Like I think time will tell on a lot of this stuff. Um, there's been a lot of sentiment uh on a lot of online platforms, and lawmakers have gotten involved and like, hey, we shouldn't target kids so much. That's why YouTube has when you post something on YouTube, it's like, is this for kids? Like it's a separate area because they're not supposed to have like certain advertising, or I don't know if they're supposed to have no advertising at all for kids. The same way that McDonald's was like pushed to get rid of like Ronald McDonald and all of that stuff. Like, hey, you can't push this to kids anymore. Um, which I think is somewhat good. But I also know like when the internet puts up a button that says, "Hey, are you 18? Yes or no?" No child is going to go, "Oh, no, I'm not."
Yeah.
It's built solely for the 5-year-olds who will take it to their parents and go, I think lying will make me die instantly, so I don't know what to do.
Yeah. It's a pretty bad system, but I think we've been having too much
Too much
fun.
fun. Too much
So,
fun.
back
Back
to
to
the
the interview.
interview. What have you been up to this week, Sir Jum?
Not a whole lot. So I without getting too in the weeds in it, we got like a family health crisis going on. So it's like an all hands on deck situation. We've been changing off on who's hanging out in the hospital and who's watching the nephew. Um, and so I've been pretty tied up. When I was able to break free, though, I was able to get one game in there, which I still haven't complete, which is Enemy Zero on the Sega Saturn, which has become an actual nightmare
Hmm.
of a game. It's a very bizarre game, but I'm really enjoying it. But it's big hindrances. You have a limit on your saves and a limit on the load of those saves. And so after a certain point, like you just can't try anymore. It's like a weird contrived like game over system. But I have some tricks to get around it. But I ran into that last night where I just died too many times. Like you don't have enough battery to reload the save. Like I can't believe this.
Yeah, I remember I raided into you last night, and it seemed pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the core crux of the game, it's from the same group. Warp is the developer, and they made D, which is a bit more infamous, I think. That's an older FMV game. This is also mostly an FMV game, but it has a kind of first person dungeon crawly shooter element to it. You're in a spaceship that is being invaded by invisible aliens, and your only means of tracking them is a radar ping, and you have a gun that often has limited charges, that has an extremely short range, that must be charged. The charge cannot be held. And so it's this constant like test of like, all right, you gotta wait till it gets close enough to start charging the gun, but not too soon. And you gotta wait till it gets close enough to hit it just based off the radar pings. But if you miss your shot, you don't have enough time to recharge it. And it's just it's really tense and stressful.
Interesting.
But yeah, the mechanic they added into it is all your saves in game is through a voice recorder. That is, it's voiced. You get voice lines by the lead singer from Luscious Jackson, which was a big thing for the game. Like it was all over the packaging. And I criticized that because she's very dispassionate in the line reading. Although they they kind of explain it in the game, like they reference it in game, like you're always so like calm and emotionless. Like, oh, maybe she's actually playing the character out like as written.
Hmm.
But you have this voice recorder. It starts with a certain amount of battery charges. You can never refill those charges. Every time you save, it costs energy. Every time you load, it costs energy. Um, it's much like D. D was similar. D had no saving and it had a strict time limit. I think it's like 2 hours. You have to finish it, otherwise it's just it. It's over. Uh, so like it's just an extension of that same kind of game. It's so much like wandering around and hearing these radar pings and like, oh god, and you start getting two pings at the same time. They're closing in on you, like you can only shoot one of them, while also trying to navigate this maze of a spaceship. There's other survivors. They won't pick up the phone. You got to go find them just for them to die. Got to find your boyfriend. Turns out he's a robot.
Well, that just makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's as you'd predict.
A lot of these older games are really unique and kind of, I guess, niche. Because I had no idea about a lot of these games that you've played, and I really respect that you play them to show them off to the world.
That's most of what I'm going for. Is I find I'm way more drawn to like the weirdo games that I'm not gonna say like, oh, these are super obscure, because I've usually found out about them because somebody else talked about them. But there's a lot more fan translations going on, so I get to play a lot of games that were never released outside of Japan. Um, a lot of games that are kind of like the also rans of the early Resident Evil era is like a big particular favorite of mine. Weird
Hmm.
RPGs from the Nintendo or Super Nintendo era that never made it to the stateside that now have fan translations, and they all have like really weird and interesting mechanics, or really weird stories. And I'll play that, and then I'll play like, you know, a newer double A or triple A game, and I'm like, yeah, I guess this is okay, but like, give me that weird fishing game where I'm bare knuckling snakes in the wild trying to find a giant fish to save my sister. You know,
I do love a good fishing game.
give me that like that first person dungeon crawler Resident Evil where I've got a shotgun with no crosshairs and I'm desperately fighting these bats.
Hmm.
You know, those are the ones that I remember like way more. I think like my favorite game I've played and all the time I've been streaming is still Sweet Home, which is like a horror RPG for the NES that is the predecessor to Resident Evil, and it's just such a interesting, unique concept for a game. I'm just constantly trying to I'm just chasing that dragon, trying to find like another game like that. But it
Sweet.
interests me like way more.
Whenever I think of Sweet Home, I think of the webtoon.
Yeah, the webtoon that got
Manhwa.
turned into a Netflix series.
Yeah, when I saw that on Netflix, I was like, "Oh, are they making this again?" And I didn't realize. And I watched about 5 minutes, like, "Oh no, this is something different. This is still cool."
Yeah,
I'm almost wondering if they are actually connected.
they don't
Well,
seem to be.
Sweet Home is a licensed game based off of a Japanese horror movie that, due to some licensing issue, has never been re-released. There, you can watch it online. A group just did a like a remaster where they took all the available footage they could get from different copies of the movie on VHS or Laserdisc and recompiled it into one like this is the best quality we're gonna get source. Special effects by Dick Smith, who did the effects for Poltergeist. And it's like just kind of a classic like haunted house ghost story. But the game was created explicitly as like a movie tie-in for it. If you like J-horror, I recommend checking it out.
I really want to check this out now.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's really cool.
So, once again, too much fun. We're getting too much of your character and the things that you enjoy. We're learning far too much about you. So we're gonna have to move back over to the boring interview part. So, Jumington, sole person saving the old game and niche content, like part of YouTube. How old are you?
I am. I won't throw an exact number out there. Not that I'm particularly like scared of it, but if I admit it, it's like the portrait of Dorian Gray. If I have to face my own agedness, I fear I will die. Uh, I am older than the Atari 2600, but younger than the Nintendo Entertainment System.
What a characterful way of giving information about yourself. We asked this question so that then the next question we can get an idea of what point in your life you decided to. When did you start streaming and why?
I started streaming. How was it? Like almost 2 years ago. I think this is this. Well, now maybe over a year. This is like the second year. Although I had streamed a bit before, it was just the Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th tradition, most of which those are privated. Um, I had been wanting to stream for a long time prior to that. I just could never quite get things going time wise or anything else. I did YouTube videos, like edited content, like 10-15 years ago, which was like the start of the channel. And I quickly found that like I was doing a lot of Minecraft videos, and like that takes a lot of work to build stuff offline. And I also found that like most of the interest in that was when you're on like multiplayer servers, which I was not, and I just got overwhelmed with it and took like a long break. I found that when I started checking out VTubers, I was like, oh, this is real cool from like a technical aspect. And I got really curious about like what does the other side of the screen look like? What are the tools involved with that? What's the tech behind all of this stuff? And that really like prompted me to like revisit it and get back into it. Going back to like Kizuna Eye. I remember watching Kizuna Eye and like, wow, this is really neat. Like, how do they do this stuff? And then like Hololive, watching some of the Hololive Japan, and especially when Hololive English came out, it was like, wow, this may be a thing that I could actually do. Not that I'd be amazing with it, but like now I know what the tools are. Now I know what's out there. I can get this stuff. I could make something work, and then that'll be that. Because I definitely didn't want to show my like real actual like horrifying scarred up meat face online.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing. I was like, I'd rather be this character. That would be really cool, such as it is. That was why I just really wanted to play some games, and I'd been planning it for so long that like I'm growing my game collection and looking at these games like I'd love to play this game. I can't because I need to keep this for when I'm streaming. And it was like a year of that and like building things in the background where it's like, you have to start. And I probably wouldn't have actually started except for there was a Friday the 13th in October. And I have a tradition that every year on a Friday the 13th, I play the Friday the 13th game on the NES. And I had been streaming that every couple of years. And I'm like, well, this is it. I have to start now. I can't miss this. It's not going to be a Friday the 13th in October for many years. So like, I got to get off this and do it now. And I'm glad I did, because otherwise I would have just like stared from the background, like too nervous to get into it forever.
Mm-hmm. Do you view yourself as a cartoon character come to life, or a voice actor? Or something else?
I put a little bit both. It's primarily voice. I do like the cartoon character aspect of it quite a bit, but like it's mostly the voice behind it. I think if it came down to it, like I could keep doing this just as a disembodied voice. But if the reverse were true, if I had no voice, I don't think I would I don't think I'd be going very far with like the character itself.
It's an odd question to ask, and I gotta figure out a better way of asking it. It's a way of like, do you want the character that you're portraying right now, like as a meta question, like asking quote unquote the person behind the curtain, do you view the thing that you're doing, like are you fully in it? Are you like putting on a mech suit of a cartoon character, or do you view yourself more as a person in a voice booth playing a character?
In that regard, yeah, I'm definitely in the Jumington suit. I'm definitely piloting this meat mech around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out better ways of like asking questions so that you can answer within character, but also asking questions that can get a little bit more to the bone of the person that we're speaking to, And I gotta find way better ways of doing it than what I just wrote down.
It's tough to make that separation between like the character and the person behind it without breaking that wall.
Absolutely. But that's the joy of being on the 12th episode. You're still learning. Why the name Jumington?
So I've gone by Jum for quite some time. It was an old nickname. And it's just kind of like it started as like a joke name, like Dib Dibidome. I used to go by Jojo John Smith, which mostly was a ripoff of The Simpsons, where Homer's coming up with a fake name. It's like, Mo, I need your advice. See, I got this friend named Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo. I had a group of friends. We watched Simpsons a lot, and we drove each other nuts by constantly playing voice clips from that. And so it was originally like Jum, and then as I'm filling stuff out online, like you need a last name, like, well, clearly it's Jumington.
Obviously,
so that's the only thing it can be.
That just makes sense. Yeah.
You gotta fit that mold there. I'd love to say like it's the name my parents gave me, but you know how it is when you come to the country, you kind of wanna spruce up the name. Maybe people have some trouble pronouncing your name or whatever. You get the old Ellis Island spell check on there, and you end up with something completely different. When I went to the business world, I really needed something a little bit more eye-catching and less plain than the name I was born with. So legally, it's all sound there. All the paperwork's been filled out. Also spares me the connection to the familiar issues. So
of course.
Get a whole fresh start on that. Also makes it a lot easier when you need to be separated from things. Like if you had to, let's say as a purely hypothetical, fake your own death to escape criminal prosecution. It's a lot easier to do if your identity is just one layer of the onion that you can peel away and discard.
It is nice to talk about hypotheticals. We love those here.
Yeah, purely hypothetical.
Of course.
No confession of crimes here.
Moving swiftly past that, when you were talking about when you started streaming and why, you were talking about Kazuna AI as like kind of an inspiration because it gave you a little bit of the like how the sandwich is made and you decided you wanted to make it. Were there any inspirations other than that for your content?
I'd say like just a lot in general. Like I really enjoyed when I first started seeing this stuff on YouTube. My first reaction was like, what is this? This is so bizarre. Like, is this like an anime character? And I initially had kind of a negative response to it because it came along in my recollection along the time that Japanese individual married the hologram Hatsune Miku. And it felt like that. Like I don't want to like I don't want to like yuck anyone's yum here, but it felt like that kind of like that sort of like dystopian, like in the future we're all gonna connect with holograms because we've lost the ability to connect with humanity kind of, you know, sci-fi trope. But the more I watched this stuff, I was just like, wow, these people are hilarious. And watch like you know, like the earlier Hololive stuff with like Usada Pecora pulling like Minecraft pranks, like the pumpkin house prank is a particular favorite of mine. I had no idea who they were. I hadn't seen any of them. Sakura Miku from Hololive, also famous from her repeating of a certain line from Grand Theft Auto. But then watching after that, like, wow, these people are kind of like there's the perception of like a lot of the VTuber from that group is the cute girls doing cute things, but the most popular for me was the cute girl doing curse things. Like, here's this cute anime girl, and she's delighting in like electrocuting this man's nipples. This is hilarious.
Base.
When I think what really kicked it off for me was when Hololive English hit, because that was when it really like fully coalesced for me. Like, hey, these are like, at least some of these are like Americans in this country, and they're doing it. And like they had a dream and they're pursuing it. And this is where it took them. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this and then I can join Hololive. It was just like, wow, these seem like there's a difference when they're speaking your own language. I feel like a lot more of their humanity comes through. They seem more like real people, right? If you're watching something subtitled in a different language, for me anyway, it was easier to just view the character. But when the English group came out, and I saw a lot more English VTubers, you know, spring around that, before that, after that, you see a lot more of like the humanity behind it. And it was like, wow, you know, this is something that I really want to do now. I really want to do this stuff somehow, learn how to make this stuff. So even if I can't, you know, there was the initial thought, even if I can't do it myself, maybe I can learn how to make stuff and like still be part of the industry, if you will. There's a lot of those in terms of like the retro stuff. There's a lot of like non-VTuber like YouTube channels that do a lot of like older horror games or retro stuff. Dungeon Chill is a particular favorite. I get a lot of cool game ideas from them, which I'm worried to say because
I gotta do it. You know, there's two channels on the tip of my tongue that I gotta bring up just in case they existed for you. Nostalgia Critic and Angry Video Game Nerd. Any relation? Any inspiration?
Angry Video Game Nerd, you know, for sure. Not so much for this the streaming, but like definitely for like the content creation, and definitely like I really appreciate James, you know, the guy behind it, like a guy with a passion for filmmaking who went through all of this stuff. I mean, I really respect that. I like the Angry Video Game Nerd. I also curse it somewhat because I think there are too many people who didn't get the bit that like he doesn't actually hate all of these games. This is like an exaggerated bit because then all of a sudden it's like, I heard this game is terrible. Like, it's really not that bad. It's actually fun. He wouldn't be playing it if it wasn't fun at all. It's like exaggerated up there, but I really enjoyed that. I can't think of any like off the top of my head like VTubers people that did like the retro stuff, but there's a lot of I hate to like, I feel like there's a lot of people who like watch Hololive English and are like, yep, I'm gonna do that now. There's a lot more like English VTubing, and I got really in the weeds for a while and like some of the smaller companies and like weird drama with that. Like what was it, CyberLive, I think was one. And a bunch of like back and forth with that, and like following after people graduate from a company that goes under and where they end up with next. Was just kind of a fun puzzle that started to feel a little creepy.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
yeah, we've all. I think if you're a VTuber fan, you've seen somebody who graduated or left the company, or like the company went under, and then they show up as like a new character, and it's like, it's nice that they've reappeared, but you don't want to make too big of a reference about it usually. But like sometimes like that level of like, I want to know where they end up, it veers too much into, and this is what they look like in real life and where they live, and it's like, well, I don't want to be part of that.
The fear of parasociality. Absolutely. Fully understood.
Yeah.
Oh god. No. No, it's gonna leave my brain.
No.
I had such a funny thing to say, but it's gone. They're gonna think I'm not funny anymore.
No.
Tragic.
How did you meet Anna?
This is the same answer I think most people get. Sky.
Unbelievable.
Sky Axons. Sky Axons is like the ultimate, like, he's that guy that's like every introvert's friend that drags them to the party. In the introverts, like myself, or like that parrot from the meme that's like, I don't want this cracker of socializing. Take a little nibble. Actually, I love this. I met Sky through Anochikawa was like the first person that introduced me to other streamers, and then through Sky I meet a lot more people. And Sky had asked me if I wanted to play Phasmophobia, and then we got Prahenmo in there, and then he brought Anna along for that. Which was unfortunate that you had to witness me arguing with Prahenmo like a petulant child that I am.
Gonna be honest, I forgot about it like the day after. I was just enjoying socializing.
It's the sort of thing that, like, I'm the kind of person that remembers all of that stuff, and then I know other people just kind of forget it, because that is true. Most people just forget that stuff. Those things linger with me.
I've got really bad memory issues, so it's not out of choice. I'm glad you're enjoying that, love.
So, Jum, we've got an idea of why you decided to stream. Why do you continue to stream?
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I have no, I wish I could say like, I have this dream, I have this particular goal. I spent enough time trying to like make it on YouTube way back when, and I realized that there's a certain level of commitment. There's a certain level of playing the game I feel like you have to do to really push forward. And there's a lot of luck. It's a lot of luck involved with like getting spotted by people. And I don't think I have that. I just kind of do what I do. Like I'll play the games I want to play, even if they're not really popular. If I hit upon a really popular series, I'm less inclined to continue it, because then like, I don't want to be shoehorned into this. Like I love Mega Man. I like slowly feed out Mega Man games because it draws a lot of interest, and I appreciate that. But I fear if I pursue that too much, I just become like a Mega Man streamer, and then it makes it harder to like, okay, I'm gonna play something else now, and then your numbers like drop. I try not to worry about any of that. I just really enjoy it. It's given me an opportunity and a very childish justification for all the money I spend on retro consoles and retro games to like, well, it's fine because it's for the streaming. So it's justified. I'm not just sitting down here in my abandoned building playing video games all day and avoiding, adult life and the consequences of my legal troubles. No, I'm doing something. I'm streaming. It's fine now. It justified it. But I have a ton of fun playing the games and joking back and forth with chat. I mean, different people. It's been a lot of fun, and I love all of the technical aspect of it and trying to play around with different stuff on the model or different stuff in OBS. A big nerd for that stuff. And so, that's
long since I've gotten to say, yeah, capitalism really does make everything unfun unless you can find some way to tie it in any way, shape, or form to making money.
Oh yeah, that's monetize your hobbies. It's so hard. I reached that point early in life where it was so hard to justify doing anything I enjoyed, because it always felt like there's something better I should be spending my time doing. And it's gotten worse over the years where like sit down to watch a 2-hour movie and like 20 minutes in, I'm like, I should be doing something else with my time here.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a difficult feeling to fight. And for the video game end of it, it's just, I find it for myself, it's a lot more enjoyable playing the game for an audience and chatting back and forth with people than just like staying up all night by myself playing a game. I can't go back now. I don't think I could go back to just playing games by myself. Not fully.
That's fair. And to go back a little bit in the conversation, the whole concept of luck and stuff like that is always pervasive in any form of like self-employment or entrepreneurship, of like getting those eyes onto the stuff that you're doing. While you can put in as much effort as you want, it does rely on outside people that you have no control over, seeing it, liking it, and coming back. And that can feel a lot like luck. But the good thing about a lot of the people that we talk to is they don't know this, but it's not luck. You guys have what it takes to become incredibly popular people. Like you and pretty much everyone we interview are just amazing people doing what they really enjoy doing. And it really comes out with the way that you talk about this stuff during the interviews, of like, you love what you're doing, you love the ability to make more of it, you love what you've done. I'm sure if we watch some of your older content, we can all laugh about some things, but like, you're definitely enjoying yourself. And so there's always that thing of like, you just got to wait for people to see it and then realize, oh, they're doing a great job, they're really good at this, which of course they will eventually. But it's always that thing of like, luck is when the good thing happens to you, but strategy is building the platform that when that lucky moment happens, you're able to build off of it. Like getting lucky once is great, but of course, if you're constantly putting in the work, that lucky moment turns into that strategic point in your life where you made the change necessary to become what you will be eventually, of a popular creator.
To think so. I think that the luck aspect of it has a lot to do with like the vagaries of the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
Like getting you out in front of people. I mean, let me be honest, like YouTube is like the best system out there because it's the only system out there. I mean, you got Twitch and stuff, but the particulars of YouTube are fairly unique. But there's so many problems with it. You know, all the time I have this problem for myself. I see people talk to me about it on the channel. They just don't get notifications. When something goes live, they don't get the notifications for your channel. Those things just kind of like break or stop working, or they restructure how notifications show up. The algorithm is constantly shifting. It feels like this constant like arms race of like knowledge about the algorithm. And then you're competing, and I hate to put it that way because I don't view any of the other streamers out there as like, this is competition I must crush, right? This isn't like, you know, me versus the Ivan Drago out there, like I have to get revenge for Apollo Creed. But it is like you're competing for people's time and attention, and there's just so many people, because that's the thing with the democratization of content creation. Everyone can do it, which means almost everyone is. So there's so much out there for people to choose from, that it's hard to like get yourself in front of people who may like what you're doing if they ever found you. And that's where I kind of like falter on that I look at a lot of that stuff like, hey, do these things, you know, here's these 5 easy steps to do this. And that's rarely the case, but there's certain things you can do to try and like move yourself up or get yourself out there more. And there's a lot of that stuff that it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'd rather spend the time like making a weird backdrop for this game, or like staring at a blank canvas for a while trying to come up with a thumbnail, rather than like, all right, let me go analyze my numbers here. I rarely look at that stuff. I usually, someone like Sky will frequently tell me like, your videos really do numbers. I'm like, really? I don't even look at it. I don't know. I'm mostly just like, hey, there were like 10 people in chat. We were having a great conversation. Like, mission accomplished.
Yeah, as I said, As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, it'll happen. I fully believe in the indomitable human spirit, and that relates to YouTubing. How? Don't ask me questions. All right. So for Jumington, what's the future of your content looking like a week from now, a month from now? Like, you got anything in the works?
I got a lot of stuff cooking. I have a gigantic list of games that I am chewing through. Try not to race through things, but I have like a huge pile of RPGs, which I love, but they take so long and it's so hard to play more than one at a time that like I'm always looking at that list like, oh man, and there's always new stuff getting added in. A lot of horror games, survival horror or other types from older consoles. I really love digging into like all of the series that didn't survive, like Resident Evil did. A lot of the weirder, more experimental stuff. I am looking at starting the first East game pretty soon, the TurboGrafx version of it. I'm pretty excited about that, but want to start doing some East series stuff. We got Star Ocean for the Super Famicom I'm still playing through. I have one more game for the NES Mac Venture series, Deja Vu, which is a series of adventure games for Mac that were ported over to the NES. We did The Uninvited and Shadowgate, and I think it's just those three because there's Deja Vu 2, but that's Game Boy Color. I've been trying to get through those. A lot of adventure games that I enjoy. I had been playing the original Wolfenstein 3D, and I kind of scaled back on that because unlike a lot of other FPSs, it's been a while since I had this. It was actually giving me motion sickness. So I've been like gun shy about going back to it. It's mostly those that I'm getting through. I've got a short list of adventure games I want to check out too, some newer, some older stuff. So that's most of where I go from that. I haven't really like dived out much into other content. Occasionally I'll do Blender streams. I'm just so self-conscious about my amateur Blender status that like it's tough because I would go through like a 4-hour stream like, well, I got a box and I did nothing else because I undid everything I did. But I do enjoy that. People seem to like those, so I try to do more of those too.
Art streams, and also the only way to upgrade or improve is by doing. So yeah.
Yeah.
I need to do more stuff like that.
I'm not great at like working with an audience on stuff. Sometimes people ask me to explain something and I'm like, I just kind of do this. I'm not sure if it's right. But I did enjoy that, and it serves a double purpose because then I can get some work done while also streaming. So that's a nice added benefit to that.
Yet again, capitalism.
Yep.
So it's that time in the interview. If you've been watching, you know what this is. You know I always make a big deal out of it because it's mine and I get to eat it up. No crumbs. So, are you community minded? This question is so incredibly important to me because while we're looking at you and we're looking at your content and we're looking at what you want to do in the future, who you are in the past, this question asks where your heart is. This question asks, do you care about the people that are watching your content? I want to know, all those people who are going to come to watch you, how are they going to be treated and what should they expect? In order to get a good idea of how that's going to work, I'm going to give you all of the previous answers because I'm asking you to bear your heart, so I'm going to bear my heart in proving that I care about all the people that we interview here. So Sacred's Hearts believes that their community is a safe space, and it's the whole point of why they stream. They want their Discord to be a place that you can go to, feel safe, feel seen, and be happy there. That is what they love to do, and that's why they do it. Tony loves his community, but wants to be the same great streamer even if they have 0 or 1 million viewers. They love the community being there, but they really want to like improve themselves in order to make a better experience for everyone. Sky views his community as background dancers, while he is the main performer, a song will never be better than when the main act and the background dancers are working together. He loves working with his community, and of course, as we all know, working with every VTuber in existence that he can get his grubby little hands on. Glitched appreciates the community and enjoys the separation between content creator, content, and viewer. She is an amazing artist and an amazing like that person who works with materials in order to make art that isn't just painting. And so loves doing that, loves getting that out to people, and so enjoys that separation where they don't have to exactly be friends with everyone that's watching their channel. T Bonnie, not a streamer yet, but is excited to let it kind of play out, figure out where it'll go from there once T Bonnie starts streaming. Varden is letting it play out, doesn't really want to like tell the community what they have to do, is just letting it play out, seeing how it goes, because they have a trust with their community, and if they don't trust someone, they would rather them leave than try to tell them how to do stuff. Annadelna, don't know if you've heard of this person, likes the line, but is still trying to befriend viewers that prove that they are, like, you know, real people, not just bugs on the internet. Little Droplet is trying to be friends with the whole community that they're creating, but will set the line of like, hey, I'm a content creator, you're not, like, you don't know me personally, when they have to. Succulents has fun with the community and is letting it play out because he doesn't want to box the community into anything. Zane, this is a new one. We had an answer from Zane, but Zane decided that they didn't like their answer that much, so we got a correction in Discord messages. Loves cooking up and improving the content that streamers give him. Considers the VTubers that he works with his community more than the viewers, but enjoys feedback from both communities of the VTubers that he works with and the community that's watching this stuff. He loves the creation and working with the content given. But you're fine, Zane. I appreciate it. All right, listen, I need more info for this. And so just loves the VTubers that they're working with, loves the viewers, but far more views the VTubers as community. Ricky T Bones, he wants his channel to be an oasis in the middle of the desert of the rest of the internet. And once you click on a video, he wants it to feel like while you're in this hotel, in this oasis, he's playing on a big stage, and you can just kind of sit down, relax, let your woes fall away, and watch the big actor on the stage. Perhinmo wants it to be far more like a circle of chairs all staring inward, and Perhinmo is one of the people in the chair. And while he's the big thing that you have to pay attention to, he does like that feeling of everyone chipping in and like showing off the cool stuff that they did. And now, Jumington, what will I etch into the stone of community thoughts for your name?
I view the community like a group of friends or acquaintances. We're all hanging out, you know, watching a movie or playing video games together. I'm just the one who happens to have the controller right now. I think we're all pretty equal on this stuff, you know. I love it when, you know, I get a good riff going with chat when we're going back and forth talking about the things we enjoy, talking about, you know, your little victories in life and what's going on or stuff that you've made. You know, that's the stuff I really appreciate. That I try not to put too fine a line on things. You know, there is that line that's there that, like, I'm the content creator and you're the audience on this, just in that we're probably not going to meet in real life, but that doesn't mean we can't be like internet friendly on this. I don't see myself as like I'm the king of the castle here. I'm on top of my throne and you're all like staring up at me. I definitely lean more towards like what Parimo's saying. Like we're all just hanging out and watching the same game. People will come in with like some tips on games. People come in with game recommendations. You know, I'll crack jokes about what's going on the screen. They'll crack jokes back. We're just like riffing off of each other, like a good group of friends or people like at a party that are like hanging out, like MST3K-ing their way through a terrible movie. That's how I feel about a lot of it, and I love to hear about when people come in and say, I had a good day, I had this stuff go right for me. It's also good they come in and say, like, I'm having a rough day, because I hope I can make that day a little bit better for them. And it's the same for me too. I try not to spill too much, particularly if it's like on the negative side of like stuff going on in my personal life, or get too personal about stuff. Not because I want to hide things or keep this like separation, like, well, you don't get to see that. Just because I don't think that's what people, I don't think that's what people really want to come for. They want to come and joke and get their mind off of stuff and check out the games. But like, you're always welcome. Like, people come in a lot, they'll tell me about their troubles, or they'll tell me about the things going well. Talk about the games they're playing and what they enjoy and what they didn't enjoy. We don't always have to agree. We get a lot of interesting debates over like who would win in a X versus Y fight. Those can be fun. But that's more, that's where I'm at with it. Whoa, I'm turning my window around for some reason. That's where I'm at with that. I don't this is a collaboration, I guess I would say, between me and like the audience, right? Like I can sit there and talk to myself while playing these video games, but it's not as good as if I have something to bounce off of. It's like playing racquetball in an empty parking lot versus like having an actual wall there. You need that wall. Or maybe more like tennis. You got to have someone else lobbing the stuff back.
You can tell when I started getting far more theatrical with the community thoughts questions, starting with Zane of, oh yeah, they're a chef in a kitchen cooking up ideas. So for you, I have written down, group of friends hanging out on a big couch playing video games, and will throw a controller at you. Affectionate.
Affectionately.
Yes.
Yes. Awesome.
Mom says it's my turn to play Mario Party. So, Jum, do you have a name for your chat or anything that you call them?
I don't. I kind of wrestled with trying to come up with something, but a lot of what I had in mind, given the corporate theme, made me concerned that it may violate some terms of service somewhere. Like if I called them like my interns. Also, my interns tend to disappear, so I didn't want to I don't want to invite people into the company and have them like mysteriously vanish like most of my employees. But again, the interns I thought was a good one. Shareholders, but if I go with like shareholders or investors or anything, there's like a financial ring to that I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if YouTube's gonna like that. So far it's chat, and generally like their individual names. I haven't yet come up with anything like all encapsulating.
I figured it out. I've helped you.
Oh.
I've saved you from this question. Don't worry about it. I have the perfect answer.
Oh yes.
Wages, WAGIES, wages. And every time they join chat, they've got to type the message wagey clocking in, and then whenever they want to leave or go to the bathroom or anything, they either go on break or they're clocking out, So whenever
we don't really do breaks around here.
Of course.
And they're never allowed to leave.
Of course.
Exactly.
They've got their bottle set up.
Yep, that's right. You got your bottle. We will hand out the bottle. We'll deduct the cost from your paycheck, of course, and also for the time that you use will be reduced from your time clock. So you better go quick. You got to be fast.
That's fair. It's weird. The box that you throw them in at the end of the day looks suspiciously like the box you grab them from at the beginning of the day. I don't think I've noticed that before.
It's weird how that works,
Weird how that works. All right. We touched on it a little bit, but what's your favorite memory from streaming?
Oh, it's I mean, for like game wise, it's definitely Sweet Home was like the most unique and interesting one. There's so many, because like anytime someone comes in and just starts like I'm failing at a game and they're tearing into me, is always fun. We've had some really good like back and forth jokes about stuff. I love Battletoads. Is one of my all-time favorites. Battletoads is such a torturous game to get through. I just hate that game for a lot of reasons. And it was a challenge to defeat the game that I could never get through in my childhood. And I finally got to the end, and I defeated the end boss, and I was so excited, like, yeah, I did it. But the end boss jumps on the screen one more time, and she did that and killed me. So even though I had won, I died and had to go through and do it all over again. And I think I got up and left at that point. I got up and left at several points during that game where I just had to walk away because nothing got my blood boiling more than that. But that's just like, that perfectly encapsulates the Jumington Dynamic, you know, the whole brand there is like, we're on the verge of sweet success and then it's snatched away from us. And then you got to go back and rebuild it right over again. But finally beating that game was such a swell of relief. But that moment of like having it snatched away was hysterical.
I got the next question lined up, but I'm remembering something funny. What is there's like a term for when someone who works at a company gets told to work at a different company for a certain period of time? What is that called?
Float.
Oh God. Oh no.
I mean, that's what it's called in like pharmacies and the medical scene, is they float.
Because like instead of a raid, you could tell your wages to do that.
Like the job transfers.
Yeah,
I always
wagey
have like
transferred.
the
Yes.
the corporate raiders that we're staging a hostile takeover. Well, I didn't go with that one explicitly because I don't want to seem too hostile, but you know, we're out there, we're coming in, we're buying up your stock, right?
Of course.
We're setting up shop in your parking lot, right? We're coming to your company and we're taking over.
Of course. Wagey transfer incoming. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Now, what is, if you're willing, what is your least favorite memory from streaming?
I'd say my least favorite memory from streaming is when I started out, I was having a ton of internet issues and trying to play through games, and I'm still like learning everything about OBS and trying to keep track of it. High stress situation where I'm like, I still don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm staring at 3 different screens here, and the internet kept cutting out, and it had been out for like 5 minutes, and I had just kept going without realizing it. It's like, oh my God. Like every time something like that happens, I think more than that was I played Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth for about 2 hours with no game audio. Because it's something that breaks frequently for me in OBS, and I hadn't realized it. I wasn't looking at the meter at all. And so like, yeah, there's like one part of that series where like there's just no game audio for 2 hours. Like, oh my God. Like those are the things that stick with me the most. More so than anything else is like when some technical issue, or particularly if it's a straightforward fix that I just didn't notice for hours. You know, like if you are talking for like 20 minutes, you don't realize you're muted, like that kind of thing. Like those are the things that stick with me, is like, oh my God, this is terrible. Those are the worst. I have never had any particularly like negative interactions with anybody in chat, knock on wood, you know, thankfully. I've never really had to like come down on anyone or really moderate the chat so much. I haven't yet to play a game that, even the games that are bad or frustrating are fun, and like I can laugh about them after the fact. But it's just when the technology like fumbles, or particularly when I fumble the tech, those are the ones that like, oh my God, this is awful. I need to delete this, but I can't. It needs to stand, so I'll never forget. I have like a note pinned within OBS. There's like a pinned window in OBS that's like, check your audio.
I mean, it's necessary sometimes. The small things are always the things that'll slip right by you.
Yeah,
Just Emoji Joe. Yeah. Emoji Joe's the only person I ever had to ban from chat. When I first started, I had a bot that just continually posted an emoji in the word Joe.
Oh.
And so it became a thing for a while on chat where people would come in and post Emoji Joe. It's like that, you know, the one of the more lasting inside jokes there. I think they're the only person that is like banned in chat. I don't know if they were a bot or just someone who I don't know what the deal was, but it was funny. Like you have to block that stuff, but it was still funny just seeing my chat window like flood in with like random emojis. Joe.
I've had a couple of people like that. There was one that also did my stream and Glitched Phantom, and I think maybe a couple of other people where they would just come in and just say their name. Like, oh god, I don't remember their actual name, but it was like Manuel Casablanca or something.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I've had some like I've had like issue like a warning once or twice, but like that was it just kind of resolved itself. Like someone came in and was like, just tell somebody else in chat to stop talking, and I was like, hey, take it easy, and they just kind of quietly went away. I was like, all right, problem solved, good enough. So
Yeah.
I'm super thankful for. Like I can't express enough like how thankful I am that no one has come in and been like, you're terrible and this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Or the what used to be the problem with like bots posting like trying to find ways to get around the blocking links to post like links to adult websites, which like can cause a lot of problems with YouTube for like content like the content terms of service stuff, the community terms of service thing, if that ends up in your chat. I haven't had to deal with any of that, so that's really nice.
Interesting. Pancake just brought this up. There was the one person who constantly asked if we remembered them. Like, they would pop in every single stream and just say, hey, do you remember me?
Yeah,
And
I
it
think
was
that
just-
might be a bot.
Well, no, I asked them. We had conversations, and they're like, oh, I'm just making sure that you remembered me.
I don't
It was-
think they're well.
It was just weird. But yeah, is there a difference between games that are fun to play and games that are fun to stream for you?
Yeah, I'd say that. I think there are like I really love the Famicom Detective Club games, and I had a lot of fun playing those. And I don't stream them anymore because I just don't think they're very much fun to stream. It's mystery, but it's a lot of like watching a cutscene and like listening to the audio. And I didn't want to talk over it. It's all in Japanese with like English subtitles. And so I kind of feel compelled to like read the subtitles because there's a lot of people who just listen, who aren't watching. And so I'm reading them. I like to do a little voice acting, but like it had an amazing cast of Japanese voice actors. I didn't want to read over them. And so it was like listening to the whole Japanese text, the whole Japanese like voice work, and then going back and reading the subtitles. And it was not very exciting to stream. I love playing the game. That's like the big thing for me. If games that I really enjoy, that I have a lot of fun with, that are extremely slow or are mostly just reading. Like I'm not opposed to visual novels, but I think there's some are better than others. That's like the big one where I'm like, I can't stream this. I can't do this. I don't really have anything on the opposite spectrum that like I would never play this game, but it's fun to stream. Except possibly like the social games like a Lethal Company or games like that I don't know how much of those I would have played if it weren't for streaming. But I think it's just those like specific titles, because I played a lot of Phasmophobia even if I'm not streaming. So
we do need to play more Phasmophobia too.
I do. I haven't seen the new evidence collection system. It sounds confusing as all get out.
They did do an update, didn't they?
Yeah, it's now there's like video evidence and audio evidence. I'm excited to check it out. It's been my schedule's been all borked for like the past couple of weeks, and I'm like anxiously trying to get things settled there so I can get back to like something more regular, and then set that up, because I've had multiple people like, hey, you want to play Phasmophobia? I'm like, yeah, I'll see if I'm free tonight. Don't get free at all. Like, ah, crap.
I just be that way sometimes.
Yep.
This is one of my husband's favorite questions because I don't think he's gotten a yes on this. Were you ever on Tumblr?
No, I viewed Tumblr, but I was never like, I never posted there.
Unbelievable. All right, next question.
Pretty believable.
What is your favorite genre of games?
My favorite genre of games is horror. If that's too big, I can put it to survival horror. I think it's kind of like most genres can be very diluted, but that is my all-time favorite. This is the survival horror, your Resident Evils, your Silent Hills, your Dino Crises. That can, it also, like, horror RPGs are also fun, so that's why I expanded out a little bit more. But
I was expecting you to say retro games.
Is that a genre?
I would call it a genre.
I'd say it is now, because there's a lot of games, like new current games, that are made with like a retro style, like a throwback style to them. I do enjoy them. It is true that most of the games that I am the most interested in playing are like, well, they're old enough to have children at this point. They're old enough to like, they've been driving and voting for several election cycles now. They have kids. They may even have grandkids.
Games that are older than me, essentially.
Yeah, I look at new games coming out and I'm like, that'll look real sweet in 20 years. It's got to age in the cellar like a fine cheese before I'm interested in taking a slice. But amongst those, like the horror games are the ones that I'm always like, oh, I gotta check this out. The stranger and more off the wall, the better. But I don't think I could just say like jank as a genre. If I could say jank as a genre, that's what I would say. A game's got to be kind of broken and non-functional for me to be like, ooh baby.
Understandable. What's your least favorite genre of games?
Oh,
No cop outs. We need hatred.
sports games, 100%. I have no interest or love or affinity for sports. The best you're gonna get from me is if you make it a robot sport like Base Wars for the Nintendo, and that's only because you can hit someone with a ball when you're a pitcher and kill them. And that's all I've never played it with anything else in mind except for beating people up in bases. But generally speaking, like any sports game, your FIFAs, your NBAs, Maddens, so forth, zero interest, zero and anti-interest, right? If I could go further than that, I actively avoid them. I've played one sport game on stream as part of the NES Revenge. It was one of the worst birthday gifts I ever received. As a child, I had no interest in playing Magic Johnson's fastball or whatever it was called. I did play it. I will say I had fun playing it because it's easy to just completely destroy the AI players. But like, it's got music by Tim Follin, like master of the 8-bit sounds. But that's not enough. I just can't stand it.
You might be interested in Blood Bowl then.
I do like Blood Bowl. I played the tabletop Blood Bowl quite a bit back in I worked in a comic book store for a number of years, long ago, and we had a lot of Warhammer people in there, so I played Blood Bowl quite a bit.
His eyes just lit up like a child.
I've been thinking
fully understanding Christmas for the first time.
I've been thinking about like trying to look through your friends to see if anyone has played Blood Bowl to try to get them to, I don't know, collab or just commentate with me over you playing Blood Bowl or something like that. But I don't, number one, I don't want to take up someone's time like that. Number two, reaching out to people is hard.
True.
You gotta get people for that. That's the problem. Like, they get expensive, but like, you gotta have your people call my people kind of thing.
What movies do you like?
I love foreign films. I'm super weeb, live action weeb. I love a good Shanbara, man. Give me some swords. Give me some insane arterial spray. Give me a rich and complex plot of honor and complex social structure. Big fan of those. I like that's I mean I am pretty omnivorous when it comes to movies, but I just like the video games. I tend to veer more towards the weird, strange, really bad like Italian 80s sci-fi is a particular fave.
Please tell me you've seen Battle Royale.
Oh yeah,
The Japanese one. I love that movie so much.
And that movie was like such a big phenomenon when it came out. The manga too. It was such a big deal. They had a sequel to it, which was, I don't think, not as good. But that's before like Hunger Games. That's before like the Hunger Games got real big. It was like that's to me where the stuff's coming from. Like your big, well, Battle Royale. Like that's where it all comes from.
I think I need to
Super
force my community to watch Battle Royale with me.
You have to watch it. It's an amazing movie, and if you look at it within the context of the time that it came out, like especially, you'll see like so much stuff like flows from that. So many other like media projects and games and things come from that initial idea of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to force my chat to watch it at some point.
When did that come out? Oh, 2000.
2000, yeah.
That's not that long ago, right? That's not that old.
That's not that long ago. I do remember when it came out, though. Oh, it came out on New Year's Day of 2000.
Oh, so it's only about 8 months older than me.
That is a very true and factual statement. There's a slight age gap between me and my husband, a couple of years, and every time we talk about things, I'm reminded of that gap, and it makes me feel old.
I get that most of the time. Anytime I talk to Sky or Sky starts talking about things, I'm like, oh, so much older. I'm old enough to be your father here.
He's so young. I hate it. Although, I will say, I mean no disrespect when I say this, it is nice not being the oldest person in the group.
Well, I'm happy to be the the grandfather up there. I'm happy to be the well, I don't want to put that on there. I'm not
I was gonna say be like the father figure of the group.
I can take that. I'm not quite grandfather status, although biologically I'm old enough. If I had kids, they could technically be old enough to have kids of their own.
Fair.
It'd be a stretch. I'd be a young father, but no kids, so I don't have to worry about any of that. Like just the ravages of time as they course over my meat space flesh.
Does your chat call you Unk?
I fucking hate the word Unk. Oh my god.
They do joke from time to time if I talk about stuff like. Occasionally I'll get someone that's kind of like, how old are you? Like, I'd rather say, I'm just old.
Yeah. I don't mind being called old. It's just being called Unk. It makes it sound like they're calling me, an uncle. And I just don't like that.
I wouldn't mind. I am an uncle. I have a pretty good relationship with my young nephew.
I'm an aunt to like 4, God, I think 5 kids now. I think my sister just had her 4th kid.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just being called Unk. I'd rather be called a hag.
Yeah, at least yeah, the more appropriate terms. I'm told that the VTubing community loves hags. I see that quite frequently. Which I have to stand by. There is a market. There's quite a market for that.
Yeah. I should probably post to like Twitter and Blue Sky trying to content farm of, would you still watch an old hag like me? Something like that. But speaking of Twitter and Blue Sky, it is the last question. Time for you to plug. What times do you stream? Where do you stream? Where can you be found for Well, I guess that also. Where do you stream at, and do you have social media like Twitter, Blue Sky, anything like that?
So I stream exclusively on YouTube.
Based.
I haven't sorted out. I've thought about multi-streaming to Twitch. Twitch has I hear this a lot. I say this a lot. I feel like Twitch has a different vibe to it that I don't quite get, and I'm terrified to like step into it because I feel like I'm gonna get hit with a bunch of like meme images and stuff in chat and just be like, I have no idea what this is. Like I just feels like there's like a language barrier there that I'm not ready to jump into. I may be overthinking it. But I'm on YouTube, you know, at Jumington. I typically stream Monday through Thursday and on a Sunday, as long as like there's not some catastrophes going on offline, at around 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. I have the Sunday grind where I play more story light, grind heavy games. I played the original Dragon Warrior is a good example of that. I have a Twitter account. I don't use it at all anymore. Not a fan. But I have an account that's there. I'm on Blue Sky. I don't really make use of that. I do post like my schedule and stuff there. And I keep saying like I'm gonna post more there, but I just don't. I never really got into social media, and I just feel like anytime I have something to say, like I'll say it on stream. Anytime I go to try to post something on there, I'm like, nah, I don't need to say this here. It's just not. It's like it's so foreign to me. You know, I don't want to make this like an age thing. It's just a me thing. I never got into it. I never really used it. I don't really look at it for other people, and so it's weird for me to go there and try and post stuff myself. But you can follow me there if you want. You'll see a schedule there. YouTube is the best place to follow me because it's most of the stuff is the community tabs or the Discord, which you can go to. But it's just the same deal.
All right. Yeah, I just pulled up Twitter to make sure that I was following you, and I am, because I'm based like that. We greatly appreciate you being here, Jum. Very kind of you to make the time, even though I know that you've got stuff going on. It was very fun, very enjoyable. Creature, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It was super fun.
Hope it was educational, edutainable.
I didn't get to hate as much as I like, but you know, it's fine.
Oh god, do you want to have your AI rant?
No, I don't want to have an AI rant.
Okay.
You don't want to have the AI rant? I've got a lot to say about AI.
Well, I mean, if you're asking for it, then
I think we both have a lot to say about AI, but I think we've both made like the same points.
Yeah,
I try not to bring up AI on my streams because it'll just go on and on.
Yeah, as I've said before, even if I'm playing devil's advocate, I fully believe everything I'm saying. So all the good stuff and bad stuff I've said about AI, I fully believe. I'm being serious. Do you or do you not want to talk about AI? It would be a separate video from this one because this one's about an hour 30. So,
I don't know.
Do you have time?
I think that's the choice. That's why I'm putting it in your hand.
I got some time to talk about AI. I got a lot to say about AI, man.
All right, outro.
All right, outro.
In the video, start a new one.
All right,
we're talking about AI again.
Well, thank you guys for watching. We love and appreciate you all.
Episode 24.
Episode 24. Woo! The wonderful Jumington. We love having him around as always. We got to play some Phasmophobia very soon.
Very soon in comparison to like when we're recording or when this video comes out.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye.